Hello, so this is going to be our tutorial about a different type of outcome that you can build for your web app. So we are going to be looking at the jQuery accordion, so the jQuery UI accordion. Okay, so the accordion, the default functionality just allows you to open up these boxes and kind of like hide the previous ones. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the HTML structure for this and then adding in the really, really basic functionality and then sort of figuring out how to add in different types of functionality. So we'll just use this really simple one first. So here's pretty much all we need in the JS. So really, really easy. The thing that's most important to keep in mind for using the accordion, the collapsible content panels, is the HTML. So if we take a look at this HTML here, and let's see. All right, so this is going to be the div, and then here's where it closes. Okay. The most important thing is that we have a container div that holds pretty much everything that's going to be in your accordion. All right, so a container div. Then it pretty much just works with a series of header tags, and then a container div which holds a paragraph tag. So I've already coded that part. So in my HTML, I have, here is my container div, right? This is my screen 3 content container. All right, and I'm obviously working inside of screen 3. Here's my back button, just to remind y'all. All right, so here's my my screen 3 content. And then I just followed the order of different HTML elements. So I have a header, then I have a div. I've given this div a class. Okay, so I have a div, and then inside of that div, I have a p tag. Okay, so let's replicate that. So we're going to be working inside of, because maybe we want to have like 3 things that open and close. Okay, so I'm going to be working inside of this container here, the screen 3 content. And the first thing I will do is just add an H1. All right, so let's call that one item 2. And then since we're here, let's just go ahead and paste that. So that's going to be our third set, item 3. Okay, and then we need a parent div, just a regular div. I'm going to give it the same class and then a p tag inside of there. So I will do this div, because this is what's going to actually hold the content. And then inside of that div, we're going to put a p tag. Okay, and I've just used some lorem ipsum. Do I still have this page up? Yeah, so there's all kinds of different lorem ipsums, FYI. I'll put this in your resources just in case anybody's interested in messing with this. Like, you know, so lorem ipsum is just like kind of dummy copy. There's a whole story behind it. One of the, people who used to print on actual press, they just threw some Latin letters on there to just like do a placeholder. And then it kind of developed into this weird nonsense language that designers still use to this day. But there's all kinds of stupid ones. Bro ipsum, cat ipsum, Bluth ipsum, I don't know. So here, this is just a website that has all the different types of ipsums. Heisenberg ipsum. I went with space ipsum naturally. So I'll just go ahead and like just copy this content into that p tag. And then I'll just kind of indent this, just kind of keep everything tidy. Oh, I'll put it on the same line. Yeah, there we go. All right. Meow, meow. Great. Okay. And perfect. Okay, so I have my main container still, right? And then I have my first header, the content div, and then the paragraph tag inside of it. You don't necessarily have to put this in a paragraph tag, but it'll just kind of help your content be styled as type, right? As a block of type. For instance, if you wanted to have like a drop down and then like a CSS animation or some images, whatever it is, you would just have to put it in a div because it just works with main container, title, div. And then we do title, div. And inside of that div, you can put whatever you want. We just happen to be putting p tags. Okay, so let's replicate that one more time. So we'll do the h1. I want to switch that to like h2 or something later, but we'll just mess with h1 for now. And then we'll do our drop down, and then inside of the droppy down, I'll just copy this whole thing. And we'll just indent this friend a tiny bit more. Okay, cool. So now when I head on over to that main outcome page, I'm going to have an item, some content, an item, some content, an item. Okay? What I want to do is now I want to call that accordion so that I can get these to kind of like hide and show. And the accordion, that information is like automatically programmed into accordion. So the most basic version of this that we need to do is just whatever the main container for all of this stuff is. In this example, it's accordion. We literally just need to call accordion on it. Pretty easy. And also, when you see this function in these examples, we don't have to write this function. This is just, you can very well put JavaScript inside of an HTML file if you wanted to. We're just putting it in our own files that because we have more than like one tiny thing that we want to work with. And so if you want to do what's called inline JS, you'd have to put this function around it. But you can kind of just ignore that when you're looking through these examples and just look at what's inside of that top level function. Because we're in a JavaScript file, we don't really need to call this, okay? So I just wanted to clarify that. So this is really what we're using here. So let's head on over to our JS and let's just call, okay, so I'll just do accordion down here. Is that, sure, close enough. Y'all know what I mean. All right, so we will do $, parameter set, and then we'll do accordion and its parameter and close it out with an expression terminator. Okay, so now we need to say what's the name of the thing that we want to be the accordion. And so we are going to be targeting this screen 3 content. If you want to call it accordion instead, because that makes more sense to you, yeah, maybe we'll do screen 3. I'm just going to leave it content. But you can obviously name it whatever you want. So we'll head here, and we'll throw this friend in here. It's an ID. Boom. All right, so I have screen 3, right? So screen 3, hashtag, and then I spelled accordion wrong, which I have corrected in both places. Sorry, grammar nerds. Okay, so just, again, targeting that main content and then just calling accordion on it. So if we refresh, all right, there we go. So rendering out. It's having a little lag at the beginning, but that's because we haven't really given any style or anything just yet. So this will automatically render for us. Okay, let's just take a couple look at some of the other options. So when you're on this main page here, it gives you some other options and examples over here. And then there's also the main API documentation, which will have code for all these examples and all the different things that you can do with accordion. This is just the most basic version. But let's just look at this collapse content real quick. Okay, so the collapse content will allow you to create collapsible content as well. Okay? So right now we kind of just have this like toggle, right? Kind of on and off. Okay? So what we're going to do is let's just look at this source for the collapsible. And we're going to add in just this one little line of code here, collapsible true. And then we'll look a little bit more at the documentation once we put a tiny bit of style on here. So just take a look at this one more time. So we don't need this function. We just need to put this inside of a block itself because it's something that we want it to do. Okay, anything that does a thing, like after a thing or dependent on a thing, needs to at the very least be in a block. So let's go ahead and let's just put that block in here, block of code, and then collapsible true. Okay, so we shouldn't really notice too much of a difference here. Okay, so now it's going to be collapsible based on that second click. All right, so let's give it a little bit of style. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give those divs some style to begin with. Okay, because of the accordion and because of the way that you have to set up your content for accordion, they're automatically going to be hidden. If they're not automatically hidden, then there's probably something wrong with your code. So a thing that we might want to do while we're styling is just disabling this for a moment, just so we can see what this is actually going to look like, okay? So I'm going to do some of this through the web inspector. So let's give this screen 3 content, let's give this a width of 90 VW. Okay, and let's give it a background color just so we can kind of see what it looks like of just white. All right, and then let's also give it a margin of 0 auto so it's nice and centered. Okay, so I'll copy this over and I am going to put this inside of my CSS. All right, and I know I want this to apply to the, oh, sorry y'all, I just literally put this in the wrong file. Let me, whoops, I'm working in this one. Okay, here we go. Meow, meow, meow. This one, this friend here. Okay, so hashtag, perfect. And then these friends should go inside of here. Okay, great. So now we should, that style should still be there. And then I know for a fact that I'm going to obviously want to change the color of the H1, and then I think I'm going to want to put the titles, I think I'm going to want to have those be left aligned. So let's just target our H1. Do we already have a style for that? Yeah, so we already have a style for that. That's where a lot of the color is coming from. We're not really using those H1s, but let's just change these just for like the sake of kind of keeping these a little better organized. I'm just going to change my H1s that I'm using in the accordion to H2s. So those are just headers. They'll be slightly smaller headers, and we can just change the size of those as we wish, okay? Great. Okay, so item 1, item 2, item 3. Okay, so I think what we are going to want to do is there's a couple ways that we can do this space, okay? And we could put margin on the H1 and on the paragraph or the div if we wanted to, or we could do it all through the main container. So I might take that approach. So I'm actually going to make this container, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to say like, I'm going to say 88. And then I'm going to put padding of 2 VW on it. So padding in the shorthand 2 VW, and that's just going to increase the space around the width by 2 VW. So I'll have this space. Okay, so again, like I said, you could go ahead and put margin in and move this stuff in, or you could take the approach that I just took, which makes things a little bit easier. You can obviously decrease the size, so if you want more space around there, you know, you could say 80, I don't know, 86, and then maybe increase this to like 3, and then you'll have a little bit more space around there. It doesn't look like it increased all that much. Yeah, okay, so a little more space. Okay, so now this all fits tidy on our page. You know, at the end of this, we're gonna like play with some fonts. We'll play with some, you know, for instance, like a really simple thing that we could do right now just to kind of show y'all, is in this Dropdown class. We can put a border on it. 1 pixel, solid, black. All right, so we can put a border on it. So that's going to be the div, and then we can also give that div, we can do that same technique. So we can give that div a width of, so that, okay, this one's 86, so maybe we want to do like 75 VW on that one, and then some padding of like, just to give it some space on the outside, 2 VW all around. Okay. And then maybe we do want to, so again, this obviously, like, because this is going to be, yeah, actually maybe we want to just not do the width and then just give it that padding. Great, okay. So that obviously like makes this scroll a bit more, right? Than we probably want it to. But, you know, there's some other options that we have. We can move this up, make this smaller. Those are all different things that we can do. But I think for the time being, we'll just leave this as is. And we'll work on sort of like perfecting the way that it looks soon. Okay, so what we'll do now is we're just going to call that accordion again. So we'll turn that back on. So we'll go to JS, and we will just turn this back on. All right. And so now, oh. So to solve this issue, what I'm going to do, so we got things validating, but it's just kind of not validating the way that we want it to render out, right? So I'm going to use the web inspector. And I'm going to see, let's see, so we have this. I'm going to give this a height and see if this helps us out at all. So let's say height, 100 VW. Ah! Why? Yeah, so I'm going to give this this container here a height. So let's head over here, and that's the screen 3 content. I'm going to give it a height of like, I don't know, 130 VW. And let's just see, let's see if that can help us out. Okay, so one of the other things that I'm thinking, and I'm just leaving this in the video because I just want to see, I want to show y'all like how I troubleshoot through unexpected things. We could also try this on the P tag instead of the dropdown, because the dropdown is kind of holding that thing. So let's put this on the P tag itself, right? Because that's actually the thing we want to have the border. I probably don't need to be refreshing. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. Okay, there we go. So that seems to be validating that. Our only issue now is that we need to figure out how to get these to not overlap. So I think the issue that we were running into there was that the div is really like the thing that's showing. But I think we also are going to need to give the div a height, because that is what isn't pushing this down here. So let's go ahead and let's give the, so we'll put the sort of visuals on the P tag, but then we'll give the height to the drop down, because as web code works, like a thing above a thing will push the thing down, right? So we just have all these block elements that are kind of pushing the other elements around. So let's head here. There we go. And let's give this a height of 30 VW to start off with. And then we'll adjust as we go. Yeah, okay. So we want to increase that a little bit. Let's use the web inspector. Okay, so we learned something very valuable here. So screen 3 content, meow, meow, meow. H2, here we go. Okay, so I'm not sure why this is saying it is. Looks like it wants us to increase this height here. So we had like 30 VW. All right, so let's try that. So we'll give it a height. I'm not sure why this is, that's a little weird to me. That might just be the way that this is rendering out right now. But let's try 50 VW on the dropdown. So again, we're just treating this as like a container that's gonna like create the space. And then this is actually where you can put like any of the, you know, UI visuals that you want it to look like. So let's try that again. Cute. Collapse. Cute. Collapse. Cute. Okay, and then so maybe we also want to, just a couple other style notes before we wrap this up. Let's see, maybe we want to get rid of the background color. That's very cute. Look at us, we're so cute. Okay, and then another thing that you could also think about doing, right, is, you know, because we just kind of want to delineate the content from other pieces of content, right? We could probably just put some borders in here that's a little more specific. So we could do, instead of border, maybe we could do border bottom. And instead of having that line all the way around, we would just have this like really simple line on the bottom that just sort of delineates one piece from the next. Hi. Oh, hi. Hi there. Okay, so here I am again. I've made a new project, and I'm pretty much going to show you how to build the same accordion style, like droppy down that we just built, right? Look at how cute we are. Oh my goodness. But OMG, there's a CSS only solution. So for those of you that hate jQuery and JavaScript, and you're just like, please, please, it's quarantine. I don't want to learn anything else. I have a CSS solution for you. Okay, great. So we are just going to kill this. So this is a new project. I'll have all of these projects linked for y'all. Boom, bye. Okay, and we are going to be using just a CSS and HTML solution, okay? So we're gonna leave this content the exact same, all right? So we're just gonna have, again, our div, our container div for all of the accordion-y content, and then, you know, my H1, my container div, and then the thing inside the container, all right? So the first step that we're gonna do, okay, is, you know, also there's another way that you could do this with like hide and shows too, right? You don't have to necessarily use the accordion. You could hide these, and then when you click on these, you could do something called toggle. So there's a bunch of ways of doing this, but I am going to show you how you can do it with CSS. So again, there's like 12 different ways of doing this with just a jQuery solution, but this tutorial is going to focus on CSS. Okay, so because, and here's the thing y'all need to know, all right? This is going to work because a hover is registered as a click when you are on device mode, okay? So we're in device mode right now. Your pages, when they're deployed as apps, will be in device mode. So a hover will be registered as a click, okay? So that's what we're gonna do today. So the first thing that we need to do is we are going to, quote unquote hide these divs, all right? And we're gonna do that in CSS. So we're gonna target dropdown in CSS, and we'll keep that, but we'll say display none. Okay, so we should just have our header friends, boom. All right, and so what we're going to do is we are going to work with what we see here. Okay, so there are ways that we can affect a child of a parent like this. Okay, so let's look at the documentation on this. I don't like this. I'll find some documentation and link it for y'all. Fear not. Okay, so what we're going to do, though, is we are going to grab the parent, say it's a hover, and then after the hover, we're going to say what we want to, like, the child. This is, like, actually the CSS that's going to be called on hover of the parent. So let's just code this example, okay? So what we're going to say is we're going to grab, okay, so these are H2s. That's what I was checking. So we're going to say H2, which we haven't styled yet. So we'll say H2, and that's going to be a hover. So we'll do dot hover, and let's just do a real quick check that the hover will work. Okay, so let's just say color will change to let's get a Q color. Color picker. Let's do like a, yeah. It's a great purple. All right. So when we hover, actually, so in this instance, when we click on an H2, it's going to turn colors. So go here, boom, 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 boom. Okay? Cool. Okay, so now we need to figure out how do we use this functionality here to pretty much hide and show with only CSS the options that are going to sort of accordion out, okay? And so here's the way that we're going to do that. We're going to start with this because this is the functionality that we want. We want to do something on hover or like on focus of the H2. But it's not a child, right? So we can't just do, if this had a child, we would literally just do a space and then hit the child, and then we could do something with that. And I'll show you how you can implement that later. So the way that we can sort of talk to other elements from one CSS, from one HTML element, right? And that's what JavaScript allows you to do. That it allows you to sort of like take one thing and have it communicate with like another element, right? There's a really, really simple symbol that it pretty much says, okay, if you're on this thing, just go to the next thing. Okay, so it's going to say, we're going to put the style on something that looks like it's going to be the H2, but the symbol that we're going to use is going to say, no, just skip to the next thing. Like, just skip to the next sibling, right? Because this is the parent. It holds everything. And then everything that's on sort of like the same hierarchy, right? H2 is kind of on its own, and then this div is on its own. These are siblings of this parent. And then this sibling has a child, okay? So just think about, I don't know, family tree, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. OMG. So we are literally going to say plus, the plus sign. You put a plus sign here, and then you put the sibling. Okay, this will only work with a sibling. Again, if you try to put it, so just to reiterate, both of these things are inside of this parent. If I tried to affect something that was, you know, inside of screen 2 with that plus sign, it wouldn't work. That plus sign is only going to work for siblings inside of the same parent container. So let's just do that. Only works for siblings inside of same parent container. Boom. Okay, so plus sign, and then the name of the sibling. So ours is called Dropdown. Cute. Okay, so check it out. Oh, wait, y'all. Oh my god. We didn't put anything in there. I don't want color. I want to do display. I dum-dum. Display block. Okay, and so these displays, display none is like your hide in CSS, and then display block, pretty much most things are block level elements in some way, shape, or form. So this kind of means hide, CSS hide, and this kind of stands for CSS show party. All right, we're cute. Indent yourself and be cuter. Okay, so OMG, let's try it. Okay, and then we kind of run into like a little bit of a logic error here, like when we unhover, right? When we unfocus. When you go backwards, it works just fine, but when you go forwards, like, see, this literally moves position, so like the hover doesn't quite validate. So there's some other things that we can do here. So we're gonna just add like a little, we're gonna add a little arrow. We're gonna add a little arrow that says like go back up, right? Put this thing back up, or like a done, maybe. Okay, so let's add that in the HTMLs. So we're gonna put that, we can actually put that inside of the, I'm trying to think of logically how I want to do this. Yeah, let's put it, inside of the parent, inside of Dropdown. So let's just do, for the time being, let's just do another p tag. We might change this to a div later, especially if you want it to be like a symbol or something. We're just gonna put the word done for now. Or, ooh, maybe this is a job for those HTML symbols. HTML characters. I like this one. It's cute. Okay, let's find a cute, like up arrow. I want like a kind of carroty looking one. I could like look at this site all day, so I'll try to wrap it up here. Wedge. Curly. I want this one, but I want it to go up. Okay, I'm just gonna pick the wedge, just because, like I said, I could literally look at symbols all day. Oh, maybe like an X? Okay, just Duffy, get it together. Oh my goodness. Okay, super happy. So I'll grab just this here, and I will put this inside of meow meow. All right, and I don't know, maybe we give us a div so it's not like just like this tiny ass text. And then again, like the, yeah, okay, you know what? I lied to you. I'm just full of lies. Let's change this to a div, and let's double check this. Yeah, let's do it as a, let's try one of these other characters, or other character sets. Yeah, we want it to be, we want it to validate to green. Okay, so we probably want to move this like over here. We can control the size, all that good stuff. So what's going to happen with this? We actually don't even have to program. We actually don't even have to do any programming here because of the way that the hover works. So let's actually just, I'm just going to give us a class real quick. Just so I can kind of show y'all how we're gonna fake this thing. And that's what I love about CSS, because you can just fake shit and it makes it look like you're really good at programming. Not that you're not really good at programming, friends. Okay, so let's just say closey. Okay, and here we go. CSS, closey. It's gonna be a, I think I made it a classy. Yeah, okay, because we're gonna repeat that. So we're just going to give it a font size, and let's just make it, oh my goodness, 4 VW, and then I'm going to use a web inspectee for this here. So closey, and let's give it a margin, top right, bottom, I want left. gonna move this over. Yeah, let's put it over here. We're cute. And then maybe let's do like -1 VW here. And let's make it just a bit bigger. Yeah, okay. I love it. So here's what's great about this. Or maybe this is an X, I don't know. Maybe this doesn't like make a lot of sense in terms of like what we imagine as, you know, imagery. Maybe it needs to just be up because it kind of looks like a little, I don't know, street cone or something. You know, those street cones. But here's what I'm trying to get at. Let me stop getting distracted. Because this is a hover state, right? As soon as you don't hover on this thing, right? Check it out. As soon as I click anywhere, it will close that thing, okay? And so what I can do, which is so nice, is I can just kind of fake this as a close. It's not actually closing anything. I'm just faking it, right? So I'm just giving the user like a cue on how you could potentially close it so that they know how to behave, even though it kind of just closes itself when you go and do something else. So we're gonna do 1 or 2 more things. Let's add our closey friend here. All right. Uh-huh.